Welcome back to year 3 of Heatherclan, my Eeveelution Clangen challenge, and I'm pretty excited to get into this year. I think what's happened is pretty awesome. So, without any more delays, let me just go into our leader. Pigeon Star started this year off strong. She became basically this mother figure to everyone in the clan. I don't know what happened from year 1 and 2 to this year for her to become so sweet to everyone. But no, she's just really kind. She's just making sure that everyone feels alright. She did notice that Shining Paw wasn't feeling so great, so she gave her some yellow flower bulbs to wear on their pelt, and they seem pretty good now. She wants to make sure that Midnight Spot, the medicine cat, is feeling seen because he obviously wants a apprentice, and it probably isn't helping him that his apprentices or his kits don't want that. Pigeon Star, there was a new cat that someone found, and they brought them to the clan. They are Dark Swish, and they've given the Pigeon Star some concerning information, to say the least. And Pigeon Star, after that, she was caught outside the territory the moon after she accepted food from a two-leg, and then she was finding the responsibility of leadership to be a burden. So, Pigeon Star, it's alright, just stay loyal, you've got this. Morning Speck had almost nothing happen to him this moon. He was a good teacher to his son Dancing Paw, but that didn't mean that he was very good with figuring out Dancing Paw's emotions or how to help him grow. And when Dancing Paw got heat stroke, he didn't know what to do, and he kind of just struggled with training them as they got older. He was bitten by an Ekans, but it's okay because nothing bad happened with that. He did get a little scared. And he won't tolerate his kits going against the warrior code. He really wants his kits to be like the knight in white armor kind of things. He wants them to be the best cats they can be. He would prefer if one of the kits would eventually grow into the leader, but he knows that's kind of a long shot, and at least he's hopeful. And he wants more kits, and he wants another apprentice, so he's hoping that if him and Midnight Spot find another litter, then he can train another one of them. Midnight Spot, he didn't have too much going for him this moon either. He brought Dancing Paw on a patrol with him, talking with him about folklore and Star Clan and stuff, and he was wondering if Dancing Paw would rather be a medicine cat apprentice, because of course he really wants an apprentice for himself. But eventually Dancing Paw did become a warrior, and he accepts that. When Dancing Paw got injured, he helped him by fending off a horde of rattatas, which ended up in him getting a rat bite. But he's alright now. Nothing bad happened. And he knows how to like talk his way through the other clans, not the other clans, the other groups that are in the woods next to their plains. He knows how to get them themselves out of trouble. Wolverine Heart had the least amount of stuff going for him within this year, so the next cats or the next Eevees shouldn't have this minuscule amount of text. He believes weakness should not be nurtured but punished, which of course Lightpaw is training under him, so I'm sure she'll become a disciplined cat, or Eeveelution. And he was caught in a storm with Ripple Mouse, which he absolutely despises, but he didn't kill him, so I'm proud of him for that. He taught Lightpaw about being sweet on the outside and smart on the inside. He also taught her to never be rude to kits. He's a very good kit guy. And he was stuck in a 2-leg shelter while Pigeon Star and him were out patrolling, but Pigeon Star managed to get him out. And that's all I have for him. Ripple Mouse started off this moon just trying to improve his warrior skills and giving advice to apprentices, until he found a Glaceon with a broken jaw next to the border, and he took them back to camp. Now, he wasn't sure how to feel about Dark Swish's stories, which I'll tell you when we get to him, but he does know that they're kind of freaky and it's pretty terrifying. Now, he takes it upon himself to guard the camp, especially after he convinced Dancing Paw to come with him to steal a deer fawn from a fox, and it resulted in Dancing Paw's tail being severely mangled and feverish. So he feels bad about that, and he did everything he could to help keep camp tidy and help around the camp in general, despite the harsh cold of winter. And at the end of the moon, it was Ripple Mouse tells Dark Swish romantic stories of old, which I find kind of cute. Anyway, on to the former apprentices. First up is Dancing Paw, now known as Dancing Splash, and who has also evolved into a Vaporeon, so his name is very on tune. Now, he had heat exhaustion for almost entirety of his apprenticeship, and he didn't graduate with his siblings because of the heat exhaustion. He had it until Moon 13, and then he didn't graduate until Moon 14. So he feels really stupid and ugly for not having evolved sooner. And he was named Dancing Splash for his insight. He received a mangled tail when Ripple Mouse convinced him to steal a fawn from a fox, and it did get feverish. But after 3 moons of healing, it finally healed, and he was good to finally actually be a warrior. And he thinks Dark Swish is just using the clan for free shelter and free healing, and he makes several false accusations at the Glaceon, so I'm sure they won't have a rivalry at all. I just hope that none of them get hurt. And the next Eeveelution is Shining Paw, also known as Shining Spots. He received the name Shining Spots when his dad's name is Midnight Spot, so I'm sure Pigeon Star had no inspiration of how to name him. But it is a boy. After a moon of worrying, he came out to his parents because he didn't feel like a girl anymore, so he is trans-mask. Anyway, at the beginning of the year, he discovered that he had a good hunting nose. He had a knack for finding the prey, even under snow. And he didn't really feel like Heatherclan was where he was supposed to be. But then he received yellow flower bulbs from Pigeon Star, and he felt better. He felt more belonged. Or he felt like he belonged more. I don't know if that yes. He was named Shining Spots for his boldness, and he becomes a Espeon Jolteon hybrid, which I don't know why I didn't mention it earlier. And he wants to look his best for being the first hybrid in the clan, so he's just worried about himself and stuff. Anyway, that's all for Shining Spots. On to Lightpaw. Now for Lightpaw, who is also known as Light Flutter. I really like the name Light Flutter. I think it's adorable. And they evolve into a Flareon. Light Flutter, when she was an apprentice, she had a nice chat with an Ampharos who is now good friends. And she thinks, as an apprentice, she thought that she was so much better than the other apprentices and even her mentor. And she was meeting with this Ampharos in the nearby spring, gaining good life lessons that isn't strictly coming from a very hateful cat, aka Wolverine Heart. Anyway, she was named Light Flutter for her steadfastness. And even after she became a warrior, she still talks to that Ampharos. She's still visiting it. And she was able to easily place herself into the warrior role. Now on to Dark Swish, the Glaceon that was incredibly grateful to be brought into the camp, especially after he got a broken jaw from an unknown Pokemon. As soon as he got back to camp, he immediately started thanking everyone, and then he hopped into warning everybody of dangers from a faraway place ruled by an over amount of humans. And he kept looking out the entrance when he was in the medicine den. He was really terrified that somebody was after him, even though he wouldn't tell anyone of why he was so afraid or who he was so afraid of. He was talking to a few cats, or a few Eevees though, saying that there is a faraway place where the humans are doing something to certain Pokemon, making them kind of listen to everything that the humans say, which is, of course, really concerning for everyone who was able to hear that. But then when he stopped having a jaw injury, he seemed to feel more safe, and he immediately hopped on the StarClan train. Midnight Spot was telling him about StarClan, and he thought that was a wonderful belief, and he immediately started helping himself to the ways of the clan.